varied functions interrelate with each other. They will see that nature is a symbiotic process and that no single thing enables a plant to grow. They would see that a plant cannot grow without radiant energy from the sun, water, and nutrients, and even that gravity plays a major role in the process. Children would understand that each individual can take an idea only so far. Others invariably add to it and improve upon it. Each contribution motivates and encourages others. Ideas grow and expand like crystals into varied and complex patterns. With a better realization of our interdependence on one another, self-centeredness gradually disappears. Patriotism and national pride, which tend to obscure the contributions of other nations, would no longer be relevant to a new emerging culture. The children could learn, for example, that 600 years before Christ, the Arabs developed the electric battery. 1,000 years before the Wright brothers launched their first flying machine, Kitty Hawk, the Chinese developed man-carrying kites. A Russian named Tislavsky, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, was first to describe in detail the principles of spaceflight. A Frenchman, Louis Pasteur, developed an inoculation against rabies. In the 16th century, the Italian Leonardo da Vinci envisioned the principles of flight and designed a rudimentary form of the helicopter. The Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus published his book on the revolution of the celestial bodies. Albert Einstein, a German, gave us the theory of relativity. The contributions of all nations made our standard of living possible and enriched our lives, but we still are only at the threshold of the future. Students would learn that no single nation has all of the answers, nor an answer for all situations. Society is in a constant process of change. Students would understand that there are no final frontiers. They would also realize that each phase of society will evolve a new set of values appropriate to that time. All values, including many of the postulates of science, must be utilized as the best tools available at the time. With the advent of additional information and more sophisticated tools, our notions about the nature of the world could be constantly updated. Science would be taught as a set of known facts and applications that are subject to change as more information becomes available, not as a set of immutable rules and laws. Children taught through cooperative, participatory, hands-on experiences develop better socialization skills and self-confidence. Instead of rote learning, our new schools could provide opportunities for children to improve their interaction with one another in real-life situations. In other instances, students may choose to explore independent interests by selecting their own curriculum. If they prefer, they would be assisted by counselors or artificial intelligence machines, which could convey information through words, diagrams, visual displays, and many other methods. Our new schools will accommodate the many varied ways in which children learn. Education would emphasize humane values in communication, an essential process to improve the interaction and communication between people of all races, colors, and creeds. Both children and adults can learn to outgrow the self-centeredness that dominates the behavior of many today. A new form of education could make abundantly clear that our likes and dislikes are based upon our present culture and that our visions of the future are always culture-bound. The children would visit farms, power plants, production facilities, and resource centers, and could actually take part in managing and planning their own affairs. Each child could experience leadership by planning activities, and these responsibilities could be constantly rotated so that each student would gain the experience. To improve the mental condition of all of our children, we must not only educate them through books and other visual aids, but also through games that are both physically and mentally stimulating. The children's centers would be equipped with books, computers, and a wide variety of visual aids. At these learning centers, the games children play would be relevant to the needs of the child and the emergent culture. Today, far too many of the games available to our children depend on competition and encourage hostility. The game of chess does not generate creativity in other areas. With practice, strategies for chess may be enhanced, but that does not enhance creativity beyond that game. This game takes a tremendous amount of effort to learn, but it's about nothing in particular. If this same effort were applied to games that improved one's understanding of nutrition, health, and disease control, it would be far more beneficial for the player and for society. People consider chess a challenge, but its significance is equal to that of a beauty contest. What games will be available in the future? Consider a game centered on virtual image of Earth. As children touch various areas of the Earth, they could learn about the geography and languages of those areas. I'm going to start that over. With laser indicators pinpointing specific areas, they can interact with and receive relevant information about any aspect of a geographical area. This could be done with as much fun and challenge as are provided by the games played today, without the need for outsmarting other players. Other games can connect information about the physical world to needs of individuals and society. There can be games to enhance one's mathematical abilities. Skeletal structures of humans and other animals, when touched, can verbally identify structures and organs, teaching anatomy and physiology. The study of plants and other physical phenomena might be similar. Other games will encourage creativity. In an environment of creative games, associative memory and the experiences gained from the basis of creative thinking. To think is to make a correlation, and it is the relevance of the correlation that counts. Imagination is based on cumulative experience. The broader the background, the more a person brings to a subject. People of the future would be encouraged to engage in constructive diversity. Even nursery children could participate in games to develop flexibility, individual initiative, and creativity along with a high degree of self-sufficiency. If they were told that 4 and 4 were 8, they would probably reply, 8 what? If 2 drops of fluid are suspended in an acoustical chamber, we can, by sonic means, convert 2 drops to 8 drops, or 1 drop to 4 drops. All numerical relationships in the future would be structured within a given frame of reference. Today, children are not taught how to ask questions and examine ideas. Education consists primarily of rote learning, of simply memorizing concepts and propaganda. Children of the future will not be satisfied to accept ideas without an in-depth exploration and understanding of them. If a child of the future were told that the country they lived in was the greatest in the world, they might ask, how so? And compared to what set of standards? Free minds of the 21st century would challenge everything, and most would in fact be experts at changing their minds. And I emphasize again how difficult it would be for some sort of totalitarian fascist regime to take hold in such a situation. Back to the book. At an early age, children could be exposed to social and cultural anthropology. They could also be exposed to the history of civilization and the history of technology from bow and arrow to the space age. Rather than trying to instill in them a sense of self-worth through moral lectures, we could urge children to develop the necessary skills to further their inquiry. Education in the future could utilize and harness the natural curiosity of children. The children would not, however, get instantaneous fulfillment of their requests. This tends to diminish incentive and makes it almost impossible for them to live without immediate gratification. For example, if a child asked a parent to build a model airplane, the parent could say, I will teach you how to build one. This helps the child appreciate his or her own accomplishments and improves their sense of self-worth. As this process continues, the child will develop greater...
The thermocouple effect will also be used for generating energy.
Children find animated toys exciting and interesting. In the new schools, they could develop their own animated toys. Before they actually build these models, they would be instructed in the necessary crafts. As they develop skills in the working with tools for soldering, wiring, bonding, and fabricating, they can actually see and use the results. This would give them an appreciation of the effort that is required to make items they might otherwise take for granted. They could constantly learn to apply high safety standards while working with simple and eventually more complex machines. Students could learn how to design and draw the models they intend to build both by hand and by computer. Science, mathematics, art, written communications, and interpersonal skills come into play in this single task. Once a project is completed, the students will better understand the relationship between the blueprint and the materials required for completing a project. Mathematics will be taught as part of the design initiative in the building of these projects so that there is a physical reference for numerical systems. In this more advanced system, it should be easy to transfer these principles to other areas of creativity within the arts and sciences. Through this process, students will be able to grasp the relationship between nature, technology, and civilization.